quick, think of your high school. Not a fact, not a grade, not a lesson, just a memory. Odds are it doesn't take place in a classroom. It takes place in a hallway. Maybe the one with the lockers that slam too loud. Maybe near the vending machines that never quite worked. Or the corner where your friends always met before lunch. Classrooms were where the learning happened, but hallways, that's where life happened. Why? And what does that say about how we design the in-between spaces of our lives? School hallways weren't designed to be memorable. They were functional, wide enough for traffic, ugly enough to discourage loitering. But that's exactly what made them powerful, because in between those bells, between math and history and English, you were thrown into an unscripted social world. No desks, no assignments, no authority watching every move, just you and them. Your friends, your crush, your rival, your bullies. Every trip between classes was a performance, and the hallway was your stage. It was where everything that mattered to you at 15 was at risk. Designers refer to this concept as negative space. It's the area between defined functions, the pauses between actions. It's not just blank, it's open. And in experience design, negative space is powerful because it allows emergent behavior. Things happen not because they're planned, but because the space allows them to. Hallways were negative space in their purest form. Not educational, not extracurricular, not even recreational. They just were. And that made them the most emotionally volatile, creatively expressive, and socially defining spaces in the school. Neuroscientists say memory is emotionally weighted. That means we don't just remember facts, we remember how things felt. So even though you spent more time in classrooms, those spaces were structured and repetitive. But the hallway, that was where unpredictability lived. Your first breakup, the time you got pantsed, the time she smiled at you and your heart flipped out of your chest. In design terms, these are called emotional anchors. Moments where an experience becomes personally significant and therefore permanently encoded. The hallway wasn't trying to be memorable, but that's exactly why it was. Hallways are what we call liminal spaces, transitional zones between one defined thing and another. They are neither here nor there, and that unsettling quality gives them a kind of charged stillness. In liminal design, these thresholds aren't just empty, they're full of potential. Airports, elevators, hotel lobbies, bus stops. We're conditioned to treat them as temporary, but they're where our emotions often hit hardest. The school hallway is one of the first liminal spaces we encounter in life, and it teaches us in a quiet and mostly accidental way how much happens in the transitions. What's most fascinating is that none of this was deliberate. No architect designed the hallway to become the epicenter of adolescent emotion. No curriculum planned for formative life moments to happen between classes. But that's the lesson. Sometimes it's the accidental architecture that defines our lives. UX designers spend endless energy mapping user flows and maximizing outcomes, but the truly meaningful experiences often emerge in the in-between. The places where structure fades, where spontaneity slips through. That's where you happen. You remember the hallway because it was where you weren't being taught. You were just being. And when we look back, it's not the structured, predictable environments that stick. It's the unplanned ones, the ones that gave us room to wait, to wander, to wonder who we were becoming. So yes, school was about education, but the hallway, that was about growing up, and that's why you remember it.